What is up, weather enthusiasts? I'm your host, Pat's Path Predictor. Let's get right into the weather. Tonight, we have a lot of breaking news, a lot of stuff to talk about with you tonight. And I brought a few friends of mine to help me out a little bit. Let's go ahead and start with Yoshi. Yoshi, once again, welcome back to the stream.
Hello. I'm back.
Yeah. All right. We also are joined once again by Weather Kingdom. He's came up clutch for several streams before. Weather Kingdom, say hello.
Hello, you guys. It's been a while.
Yeah, I know it's been a minute, but let's go ahead and dive right into it. We also have Ricky in the VC. He might speak up. He's muted right now. He might add some stuff later down the road. Otherwise, he'll probably be behind the scenes tonight. But yeah, we'll be doing some stuff. Yeah, he doesn't have VC. That's okay. That's okay. Behind the scenes stuff will be perfect. But anyway, in the meantime, let's go ahead and get right into it. We have a lot to talk about tonight. And regarding this area of interest that I'm showing right here on screen, here's what we're looking at right here. We have a very robust and very interesting AOI currently moving in the central main development region, heading for the Lesser Antilles and Caribbean Sea. And we have the latest from the National Hurricane Center. It has a 10% probability in the next 48 hours and a 50% probability in the next 7 days. And we also have Yoshi, who has come up with his hurricane forecast for this system as well as the other area of interest. We're going to go ahead and have him read out his tonight. Yoshi, go ahead.
All right. So I got my hurricane documentation and forecasting I created myself. So let's just get to it. We have 2A. So this is as of 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, August 29th. That is the information cutoff. AOI 1 status is normal. The forecasted status is that it needs close watching. AOI 2's status right now is normal, and that is going to be its peak forecasted status, as it is very unlikely to actually hit land. General overview. 2 tropical waves are forecast to slowly organize over this week and next week, one carrying danger to land. Tropical wave 1 at 38 degrees west has been slowly organizing around its axis. Tropical wave 2 has just come off of Africa and is forecasted to go north. Anyone in the Caribbean and the Gulf should watch AOI 1. Models. All models form tropical wave 1 and landfall at somewhere along the Gulf Coast or the Caribbean. Model support has slowly increased for tropical wave 2.
We're a little ahead of schedule for that.
White body. Yeah, that was something. Official forecasts. The National Hurricane Center has put up a 10% chance of forming within the next 2 days and 50 within the next 5, and a 0.20 for tropical wave 2. A 0% chance of the next 2 days, 20% chance from the next 5. Tropical wave 2 has a mesoscale spot on satellite, which is weird because I'd think AOI 1 would have that, but whatever. Yeah. Writer's commentary. Just yesterday, everyone was talking about how dead the Atlantic was, and today we seem to be pretty much back. This is yet another reason why you would never call a dead season this early. Tropical wave 1 is of most concern, as it is very likely it will hit land one way or another, so I will be focusing on that more in these discussions, and most likely in this stream too.
Definitely, for sure. Thank you very much for that, Yoshi. This next one is for either of you guys. I wanted to kind of, before we get into the first area of interest, I wanted to talk about the one off the Cabo Verde Islands. Yoshi was mentioning a mesospot on that. Yeah, I'm glad you liked that, Yoshi. I made you a moderator since you're going to be taking questions. But
yeah, totally.
Yeah, you were mentioning a mesospot on that. Does this overall surprise you, considering how quickly this thing has been has its healthy look on it already? What are your guys' thoughts on it? Does it surprise you? What kind of took it you away? Sorry, what was the most you can take away from it?
The mesoscale spot, if you're talking about that, I would say if it weren't for AOI 1, I wouldn't be too surprised looking at it. It is quite the beefy wave, but if it but we have AOI-1, which seems to be healthier, closer to land, and forecasted to actually hit land, unlike AOI-2. So I'd think there would be more focus on that, including on satellite. But I see the reasons behind going for AOI-2, but if I were the person that is managing these mesoscale areas, I would have put it at AOI-1. It would have done better for the models, and we would have had more real-time updates.
All right. Okay. Weather Kingdom, what are your thoughts on the second AOI?
For it to be coming off Africa, I mean, I saw it in the models that it was going to be pretty robust looking, and I think it's definitely close to that. Maybe looks a little bit more than what some people thought, but we're going to have to watch that one. But I think the more one that we have to watch is the first one. I think the second one, I think the first one, it's much more of a concern. But what I've been seeing in the longer range with the second storm, probably there's a likely chance of it going out to sea. But that's too early to just say yet.
All right, and with that, we will pivot to the first area of interest currently in the Central Maine Development Region. I wanted to go ahead and kind of talk about this a little bit because I'm sure you guys have noticed this too, but convection has been firing off on all cylinders, and it already has a very healthy look. And based on the last few scans, I'm noticing there is a little bit of an outflow trying to develop. It might be stuff that might go away in the next few hours, but we are starting to notice a little bit of an outflow band trying to get its act together, as well as just the rotation being relatively tight and relatively quick compared to other tropical waves we have seen that have developed this year. This one's for both of you. What are your thoughts on the evolution so far on it?
I'd say the NHC the National Hurricane Center has certainly pointed that out. The part on where it says that the wave axis is organizing itself, I actually got that from the National Hurricane Center on that. So the NHC does know that it is slowly organizing, and they have extended their formation period from about a day from now,
all right,
to right now, because it is developing a bit earlier than I expected, and I'd imagine the NHC and the models expected.
Oh yeah.
And this is just an evolution of that. First, it was starting to gain convection on the wave axis, and now it's evolved into slowly gaining outflow on it.
Yep.
So I think that's just it developing earlier than we totally expected.
That's crazy. Go ahead.
I completely agree with him. I think it's developing much more quicker, and it's crazy that just a few days ago, it looks like this was the main one, and then it went away for a little bit. But it seems like this one is taking quite a bit of a comeback, and I think it's surprising a few people with this wave, honestly. Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of surprised because I started seeing the models trend away from it. I'm like, yeah, I can probably, I mean, how this season has been, I can see that, but looks like the models have quickly regained eyes back on the system. And I think it's in a healthy environment. And speaking of the outflow you're talking about, I'm going to send something in VC that can back you up on that statement.
Would be the place to put it. It's right above our.
Yep.
But yeah, right. That's interesting. Go ahead and we'll show it whenever you're ready. But I'm looking at the structure of this. It's healthy. It's really ramping up. Like, convection is firing on all cylinders, and this is something that is very concerning to me because, in my opinion, looking at this, this is much earlier than a lot of us were anticipating, at least at this stage right now. I was talking about convection firing up maybe, like, I saw this yesterday and I was like, okay, if the convection starts firing off, let's say tonight, we'll have to see what happens. Will it sustain itself, or will it die off and be one of those cycles? It's sustaining itself. And I know you guys were talking about the environment, especially you, Weather Kingdom. This is the environment we're dealing with right now. This is a pattern of moist air. It's going to be like, it has moist air for the next week that it's going to be in. It has wind shear that has remained very weak, and it's going to remain weak at least until it gets to the central Caribbean Sea, if we get that far. And ocean heat content, I want you guys to remember, we're not even at the 100 plus OHC yet, and we're already starting to see some pretty significant stuff going on right now. Oh, and Weather Kingdom's taking a look at the outflow now. Alex was kind of talking a little bit about that.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. But wow, that's completely insane what we're looking at right here. Just we're seeing this evolve quite a lot quicker than I think a lot of people were anticipating, and that's going to put a lot more people in the line of fire. Weather Kingdom, what are your thoughts on the environment you're taking a look at now? Because I was just briefly pointing that out. I wanted you to...
I was looking at what I'm seeing with the models, I think this could be a pretty big talk going in the next coming week or so. I think what we're, like you said with the dryer, way better conditions on the Saharan dust than we were talking about back in about like a month ago or two.
Mm-hmm.
Much more better environment with moisture, and even with the shear, there is not really any shear. And speaking on the OHC, you are completely correct. And if this does go in the Caribbean, it could go through the best OHC that we have seen in a very long time.
Yes.
Especially if it goes north or south of Cuba. That's off the charts.
Yeah.
I'm 99% sure.
Yeah.
And then if it goes in the eddy in the Gulf, and with those warm waters that has not really been touched yet this season, this could be a very concerning storm if everything aligns. If everything aligns with the storm, with the shear, dryer, this could go off way quicker than we were all expecting.
Yeah, and that's a very concerning thought right here. Go ahead, Yoshi.
Earlier, about our first question upon the outflow, and upon aligning factors. One of the factors is already aligning that we were questioning a bit over the last few days. The upper-level anticyclone apparently is right on top of it, which explains its outflow.
That helps explain it, and that's going to help the system breathe quite a bit as well. Oof. That helps. In the meantime, I wanted to go ahead and also show you this because Alex was kind of asking me to show this behind the scenes. These are the 18Z European runs from the ensemble. Wow. First of all, what are your guys' reaction to this? If you have them pulled up.
I do see that, and for me, I'm kind of surprised, and it's not a good look because it's more south, and there's a lot more ensembles than the 12Z. And if it continued, if this went out even further, I would be extremely afraid on seeing the evolution of these ensembles.
Oh, absolutely. And these are like, I don't know. There's a lot of spaghetti models. And the thing that takes me off, that thing that shocks me the most is before we were seeing a split, right? Before we were seeing about a 50-50 split of them either entering the Caribbean Sea or moving just north of there, and then there might be some hope of this thing moving out to sea or maybe impacting Bermuda or something like that. We're not seeing that scenario anymore. Only 4 ensembles want this out in the Atlantic Basin, and none of them want to go going out to sea. The vast majority of these ensembles want this to go into the Caribbean Sea, and it's been pretty interesting to say the very least, and that kind of puts a little pit in my stomach looking at all of this, because the Caribbean Sea, it's going in the Caribbean Sea. it's going to have some of the best conditions it's going to have. I know June with Beryl, the conditions it had then were pretty insane. We're past that point, and we are seeing, I would argue, at least in terms of ocean heat content, better conditions than Beryl. In terms of the wind shear and moist air, we're going to have to wait till it gets to the Caribbean for that to happen. But holy hell, what a situation we're dealing with.
I think this has took us all for surprise. I mean, we knew the Atlantic was going to wake up, but it seems like this first wave really wants to be the game changer of everyone saying that this is a dead season and we're not going to see any storms. It looks like this storm is definitely could prove all that wrong.
Yeah.
In the next coming week.
Yeah, for sure. And before I get to... Oh, go ahead.
I was about to say something about Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Hold on. I am getting something from the store.
What's up? What's up, Yoshi?
I am getting new model run information from a source. Let me post it somewhere.
All right.
It is the Fox News channel. Fox
boy,
Weather.
You gotta be... Is it the Weather Channel?
And apparently they have their own in-house models, I assume based on the WRS system, WRS model system. And, quote, our exclusive Fox model, as far as it goes, appears to show at least a tropical depression or even a storm by Tuesday of next week, southeast of Puerto Rico. Sloppy east of the islands for gradual process of a center forming. Hard to imagine this not really strengthening past...
Yeah,
past
this
point next week. It could strengthen past this point. Models are showing that.
Oh,
I don't get what he's blabbering about.
For sure. Weather Kingdom, you were mentioning something about Puerto Rico. What was that?
If Puerto Rico and none of these islands need any major storms, and look what happened with Puerto Rico with the last storm that impacted them. I mean, how much was out of power of the island?
Hundreds of thousands. I know Kaiser was one of those customers out of power.
And it just shows you that like Puerto Rico is not even near ready for any type of system to impact them. Because if Puerto Rico did see another major hurricane, the island will be devastated way quicker than like the United States. We're way more prepared with that.
Oh, yeah. For sure. With Puerto Rico...
Thoughts and prayers with Puerto Rico.
Yeah, with Puerto Rico, though, what I'm looking at is before we were seeing some impasse with Puerto Rico getting either clipped to the north, clipped to the south, or getting hit by a moderately strong tropical storm. Now, all of these ensembles, to the exception of a few, avoiding Puerto Rico and moving into the deep Caribbean. And based on climatology, systems that start in the MDR and move into the Caribbean Sea, unless there is a complete collapse of the steering currents, will hit some sort of land, regardless. Whether it's Puerto Rico, whether it's the Dominican Republic, whether it's Haiti, whether it's Cuba, whether it's Jamaica, whether it's Central America in the case of Hurricanes Dean and Felix, or whether it enters the Gulf of Mexico, which we're not going to get to just yet. I know there's some questions asking about if it's going to be hitting Tampa or if it's going to be hitting Florida. Way too early to determine. My main focus right now is the Lesser Antilles, Puerto Rico, and the Hispaniola at this current point. So that's what we're paying attention to, and that's the main thing I'm concerned about. But Yoshi, you haven't talked too much. I want your take on all of this that we're showing.
So I'm looking at all my other sources I have, but the Gulf of Mexico, I would say it's quite likely. I know people are gonna say it's too far out, but I genuinely do think that it has a pretty high chance of going into the Caribbean. We got the other thing. My mind went blank.
Yeah, take your time. Don't worry.
From blocking it from going any north. So I think that it could go anywhere from the Bay of Campeche to landfalling on Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I do think going to the East Coast is possible by multiple ways, but
Sure.
I will say that the Gulf impact is quite uh,
It's all right. It's
not
okay. Just
favorable.
take your time.
It's quite likely. There we go.
All right. Okay. Yeah. That's the thing that I was worried about. But yeah, for now, Yoshi. I'm definitely looking at that possibility, and I know several other models are looking at that possibility. But I think to kind of dissect the system and see how this is evolving, I think the main focus for now should be on the Antilles, Puerto Rico, and Hispaniola. Not saying that those other areas are not important, but because there's
They're
so
the
much
first ones,
uncertainty, we need to. I feel like in order to get the information we can and kind of track how the system is evolving, I think those are the areas we should focus on first just so that way we know kind of have a better shot of what we're looking at, because I am watching the Gulf of Mexico scenario, and my stomach drops every time I see something like that, because whenever a system like this, and is already quite organized, at least at its time right now, whenever I see something like this, it gives me a bad feeling, because I know someone
Exactly.
is going to be affected. What's
Yeah.
up? Who's there?
I will say there's a ton of people calling out places in the Lesserantilles. Either this will be hit or will this be hit?
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you this wave is likely going to be large enough as to where all of the Lesserantilles will get some sort of impact.
Yeah.
Not exactly a tropical storm impact, not that, but like
Waves.
gusty conditions or a bit of rain.
Sure.
Good amount of rain.
Waves.
I heard it will turn before
Yeah.
it gets into the Gulf. It's really dependent on how the upper level steering systems will be. But like I said, there's going to be a ridge to the north that will more than likely block it from going north. And either way, looking at it, it's more than likely going to hit some sort of land, one way or another. Unless if it magically decides to go straight north from now until the end, that's not happening. No, but looking at the forecast and looking at what it's doing right now, it's more than likely going to hit some land and probably going to hit the Gulf, in my opinion.
I agree on that.
I know I'm generally in agreement with that right now, unless we see some sort of collapse of the steering currents. It's just for right now. The way I see it is, I think is just for now. The main focus should of course be on the people that's going to get affected first, and then go from there. But I do agree that a Gulf impact is likely at this current point, because you have this Bermuda high that's really not going to be going anywhere anytime soon, and that's going to drive it into the Gulf of Mexico. The question is, though, how is it going to do it? Is it going to impact Cuba and impact the island over there? Is it going to instead shift further to the west and hit the Yucatan Peninsula? Or is it going to move through the Yucatan Strait, which, in my opinion, long-term would be a worst-case scenario? That's the main thing I'm watching right now.
Quite unluckily, the artificial intelligence European model is showing exactly that. It's showing a Caribbean cruiser landfalling just south of Cancun, crossing the Yucatan, and then trying to do a Harvey.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Not saying that will happen for the people that are watching this. I will say that is quite unlikely looking at all the situations we'll see right now.
Sure.
But that definitely is one of the situations that are possible, and probably one of the worst that could happen.
All right. Weather Kingdom, go ahead.
No, I agree with him on that. I was just looking at it. I mean, I think there's just a lot, I feel like, going on with the tropic. I mean, I know everyone's been talking about the tropics being all quiet, but I think the tropics has opened its eyes, and I think it's not going to end up as what we thought it was going to for a lot. I mean, we knew the tropics were going to wake up, but I think a lot of people saying it was a gone season, and we messed up. I mean, I would have taken the full blame on that. If the tropics stayed quiet into September and magically we get the lowest ever season in a very long time, okay, then something went wrong. But I don't think that's going to happen. And I always had that thought in my head is sometimes you think about why is the Atlantic so quiet? Are we going to see that monster storm that we have a gut feeling that could ever happen? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's calm before the storm.
Pretty much. That's a good analysis at this current point. One thing I will say is that whenever a storm like this organizes and develops, let alone as quickly as it's done, I always have a bad feeling. It's kind of the same feeling I had with when Beryl started doing something similar to this back in late June. Weather Kingdom, you and Yoshi know all too well how it all started. Started off with a wave just like this, and what happened?
Yeah, I agree. And it's crazy because Beryl was in June and the conditions were not even as it could have been 20 times worse.
Yeah.
It was the worst case scenario, but I mean, the OHC, the water temps, the wind shear, the dry air. I mean, Beryl is something else.
It really was. And I'm looking at the satellite imagery more. I want you guys to take a look at this as well. The satellite imagery, we're starting to see more convection, not just, in the center of circulation, but we're starting to see more of it wrapping around the outskirts of the core, which that's pretty interesting to say the very least. I know it's a small thing now, but small things, as we all know, start adding up. And that's what we're paying attention to. So these small features over here, that I wanted to bring that to your guys' attention because I want your overall thoughts on this, and could this be a sign of it starting to really get its act together tonight? Guys?
I think it's possible. I mean, we're going to have to see what it looks like in the morning, but if we do another live stream tomorrow, I don't know if we will.
Mm-hmm.
And this is already like in the red in the next 7 days and like a 50% in the 48 hours, then that will concern me quite a bit.
For sure. Also, we are joined by our head admin, John, on the stream tonight. John, say hello.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, John, John's going to be doing a bit of a behind-the-scenes stuff with administrative stuff, but while I have you here, I want your thoughts on this tropical wave that we're watching in the main development region, though one that looks like it's going to be hitting the Antilles. If you've been paying some attention to it.
Honestly, I've been busy with stuff, so I haven't really been looking at it, but all I'll say is just keep an eye on it, and we'll see how it turns out.
All right, wonderful. And while you're here, I want to go ahead and let everybody know, first of all, be sure to like the stream and subscribe to the channel if you are new. It helps us get more people engaged with weather. We are 43 subscribers away from 10,000. So if we can hit that tonight, that would be much appreciated. Also, we have our new system out, and John, we've been working on this for a while. What we have in the pin chat is our Discord server, and if you have any questions for us, we are now going to start. We're now starting a system where we're going to be taking questions live on the air. So if you have Discord or anything like that, be sure to join our Discord server. You'll be put in a holding room. John will take care of that. He will navigate you to the live stream waiting room VC. And once we are ready, we will let you ask your question, and we would be more than happy to answer it for you live on the air. So that's our
Also
new
hit
thing
that
we are starting. What's up? Go ahead, John.
Also hit that subscribe button. Let's get to 10K.
Yep. Let's get to 10,000 tonight. Also, if you have any questions in the chat, and feel free to ask them as well. We will answer them as well. We're going to be answering questions all over the place tonight. So, yeah, here's what we have. Here's the first questions. We have some questions already going on right here. Okay. Does Miami need to watch out? Yeah, PM answered that pretty quickly. Will Anguilla get rain from that? Anguilla, where it's at right there, it's definitely possible. It's just going to depend on what the system does over the next 24 to 48 hours in terms of track wise. But really, like we said earlier, any one of the lesser Antilles needs to be watching this, because you're going to get some sort of impact from this, whether it's tropical storm conditions, whether it's breaking surf, whether it's just rain and gusty winds. That could cause some problems down the road. And I know Tristan before was talking about lahars on Montserrat, so we'll have to watch that out for that as well, and just other unorthodox threats as well. But yeah, that's just something I thought I'd share very quickly. Okay. Hi, Pat. Tampa, Florida here. Should I get worried yet? No. Do not be too concerned about it just yet.
Don't be worried yet.
Yeah.
But I'd say
keep an eye.
Watch it.
Yeah.
Determined if it has the chance to. Looking at all the forecasts.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. We're working out some stuff behind the scenes. I apologize for not speaking up too much. Weather Kingdom. What are your thoughts on some other Lesser Antilles on the Lesser Antilles stuff going on in terms of impacts? So I know we haven't heard from you too much about it yet.
For the Lesser Antilles, I mean, what we are watching. Yeah, I think you guys are going to get some heavy rain regardless of any development. And I think we're going to have to watch this, because I wouldn't rule out, and I'm saying this, a tropical depression or a weak tropical storm hitting the islands. In the Western Antilles. But as of right now, I think the main thing is going to be heavy rainfall, maybe some gusty winds, and some choppy waves. But
okay, all right, we got someone who's trying to ask a question on the air. Let me go ahead and navigate him through here. If he real quickly, let me give him the live roll very quickly. To join our live stream VC. So that's kind of what I was working on behind the scenes. So he'll be joining us in a second. But yeah, all right. Okay, I'm taking a look at this. So that's what we're kind of doing right now. Sorry if I'm a little flustered right now. I'm just trying to get stuff set up on the air. So I know it's a little bit of a janky setup. So I do apologize for that. But anyway, let's go ahead and see answer some questions in the chat. Will it affect Jamaica? Right? Jamaica, let's take a look at this. Jamaica definitely needs to watch for this. This is going to be most likely entering the Caribbean Sea, and Jamaica should pay attention to this. What are your guys' thoughts on Jamaica?
I think I agree with you. I think Jamaica's really going to need a watch of this.
Yeah.
I've seen models have pretty close impacts with Jamaica and Cuba. But yeah, I mean, do you want to look at like the Euro model and that, and we take our analysis on the models at all?
I'm sorry?
Do you want to like show the models and we take our opinions from the models?
Yeah, in a second, but we have actually a question live on the air. John, go ahead and bring him in.
All right, hold on.
Yeah, go ahead and bring him in. This is the first time we're doing this, so we're just trying to get the mechanics of this taken care of. So, do apologize for that.
Let me
Yeah. All
see
right.
here. Big ETG.
Big ETG.
Yep, there we got him.
There we
got
go.
him
We
in.
got it. Okay.
All right, Mr. All right. Big Big ETG8. Say hello whenever you're ready. I know you are currently muted. You are live on the air. Whenever you're ready to ask your question, take as much time as you need. We'll just continue. We'll just continue looking at stuff while you're getting ready. So, just wanted to let you know about that ahead of time. So, okay. In the meantime, though, Weather Kingdom, you were mentioning talking about the European. Do you want the ensembles or the operational?
Let's go with ensembles first.
All right, I have the
I guess.
ensembles pulled up.
Yeah.
Right here. What's your you wanted to talk about them a little bit? What's your thoughts?
My thoughts are, it's pretty good. I think we've been looking at the ensembles for the last few weeks, and it hasn't been really matching with the global models. And I know you have said before, we're going to have to give our global models at least 3 days to catch up with the ensembles. And I think Pat was completely, exactly correct on that, because you just go back a few days ago, the models weren't showing anything, and now look at that. A lot of the global models showing a wave or more. And the ensembles, I think people doubt the ensembles quite a lot, but the ensembles are a huge key before the global models, I feel, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. It was pretty interesting kind of watching that whole thing right there. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the GFS.
Iggy doesn't have a mic.
Oh, he doesn't have a mic.
I don't know what to do.
All right.
Just put your question inside a chat. I'm watching it right now.
Yeah, just go ahead and put it.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. This is a new thing we're testing out anyway.
Yeah, it's a brand new thing, so it's work in progress.
Yeah.
So bear with us.
Yeah. So, okay. In the meantime, all right, we have Brendan in our general manager. Brendan, say hello to the audience. Brendan?
Yeah, sorry.
You're good. You're good.
What's up?
What are your thoughts on this whole area of interest situation that we're dealing with?
Yeah, I think to me, I look at it as perfect timing from a climatological point of view.
Mhm.
I agree.
First of all, with the convection as a whole, and I think this is what's really important in weather, guys, is I think a lot of times, and this is something, Pat, that you've probably learned at your university, but, models are only part of the equation. We have to look at what's happening right now. And I think that's kind of being missed, not from this group, but I think from others out there. For example, we have seen a rapid uptrend in the Atlantic Basin, which has been relatively quiet, I would even argue, the last couple of months, with the exception of what was Debbie, but that technically was by the Lesser Antilles when it truly got its act together. So we're seeing a lot more deeper convection coming off the coast. We are now at, from the climatological point of view, the end, or towards the end of the Saharan dust season. It still is present, as we've seen on some of those dry air plots on GO16, but it's not nearly as what it was in the month of July and August. So I'm pretty bullish on this convection. I'm also pretty bullish in the Caribbean. We're seeing a better uptick of convection there too, and I think that's going to really be both areas to watch. Now, obviously, right now, the Atlantic Basin is the main area of concern, but the Gulf is certainly something we have to keep under the radar too.
Yeah, definitely.
Brendan, I do have a question for you. Do you have a meteorological degree or in advanced schools for meteorology? Since it certainly sounds like you're in, you do have one or are learning one.
As of this year, I have my bachelor's in meteorology. I attended Northern Illinois
good job,
University.
man.
So thank you.
Good job. Congrats.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm 1 year away from that, so.
Pat is almost done
You
himself.
got this, Pat.
Yep.
But that's the one thing. I'll just make one last comment and really emphasize this point. Is this live, by the way, or are we in a VC?
Oh, this is live. We're still live on
Okay,
there.
that's what I assumed we were. For folks out there that are watching this stream, I always kind of harp on this, and I know Pat would also. Pat's really good at this too.
Mhm.
Again, models are only a part of the equation. You have to also do what's called nowcasting, which is essentially looking at what's happening right now in the Atlantic, and then also drawing that comparison to what the model output is. For example, I would make the argument that many folks over the last few days have been saying, well, the models haven't really been consistent, and the convection isn't that great. I would actually argue the opposite. The convection is much more active than it was, as I said, the last couple of months. And you have to factor that in. I know it's so easy for us nowadays with accessibility of weather models to jump to that right away and look at the weather models, but it's so critical to look at what's happening right now in places like the Atlantic Basin, because that is what makes a truly a good forecaster. And Pat, I got to commend you. You know how to do that very well. I know I'm preaching to the choir when I say all this.
Yeah, thank you very much, Brendan.
One of the things I have also learned about this between sometimes you can also use nowcasting to better rely on models. Because you can look at a storm and say, oh, the models weren't expecting it to be at this intensity, so you can then look in the models and say, oh, it'll probably be higher than the model since the model's saying this, but it's already higher. Right now, it's higher than initialization, if that makes sense, obviously.
Yeah.
Exactly. And in some cases, you can even, especially when we're talking about severe convective storms, you can actually start to rule some models out as being essentially junk. Because if they're outputting, for example, a derecho and it's 5 hours behind, but yet the NAM is doing a better job at handling it, well, then there's your answer. You're going to want to probably rely more on those models short range that are doing it. Yeah. So, and the same thing can be applied to the tropics, like you just mentioned.
Yeah, for sure.
We did. People have done that many times, especially during Idalia. I remember everyone was looking at it, Idalia, and they were saying, oh, it's 993 and the GFS initialized at 998. It's going to be stronger, and it was then from what I remember the GFS originally being. So it definitely works if you know what you're doing. The most important thing out of all weather things is that you got to know what you're doing, obviously.
Yeah, I remember
May I
that
say
with
something?
Idalia. What's up?
I was gonna say I completely agree on that with you guys, because I will admit I've done that too, where I get too focused on the models, but I've really trend to try and look at the environment. And sometimes you have to look at the current environment and look at the exact time with the environment with the models, because if you compare it, sometimes the environment's a little bit more different. Maybe it's a little bit more hostile than the model is showing currently, and that does change down the road how it all involves. And you guys are completely correct on when it comes to severe weather too, where sometimes the NAM will have a complete straight out 80 mile an hour derecho, and the HER model, another mesoscale model, would have just a line and it will be weaker. And I've seen that played out, especially in the Northeast. I've seen where systems was so dramatically crazy on how the radar was going to look, and then I've done that where I look at it later, I'm like, I'm not seeing what I saw in the models, and then I get like bummed out. I'm like that. So I completely agree on that the models, you can never, if you're going to be a good weatherman and forecaster, you're going to have to look at current view on it.
Definitely.
And you're
Yeah, definitely, for sure. If you want more of Weather Kingdom's analysis very quickly, be sure to check out his channel. It's in the chat right there. Go ahead and subscribe to it. He has at 88 subs right now. Let's see if we can get him to 100 But thank you very much for that. And a lot of those concepts apply to tropical weather as well, although tropical weather, I would argue, is in some ways easier to analyze because they're more synoptic scale, which encompasses a much larger area. But in also other cases, they're a bit more difficult because there's always that one factor that completely surprises everybody. And I just thought I'd bring that up very quickly. But did you guys want to say anything else?
Yeah, I do have
There
a
were-
question actually.
Yoshi, go ahead first.
Okay. I do have a question for everyone, but it's actually been brought up in chat, and I personally don't see it, but I've seen it talked a lot about, and ironically, it's about going off models.
Yeah.
But a lot of people keep saying that these models, certain models are having something in the environment similar to Ian or Charlie had. Have you guys noticed that, or do you disagree on that? Because I honestly don't know.
I honestly don't know either. I haven't really looked at that like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
To be honest.
Yeah, that's interesting. To be honest, have no good answer to that. Really have no good answer to that. I'll have to do some research on that to take a look.
I would say most models do show it in a good environment, but I wouldn't say an Ian environment.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, an Ian environment, it was, yeah, the environment around Hurricane Ian was definitely something to watch, but I would say another environment to look at, not so much in this case because it was such an extraordinary event, but the environment of Hurricane Lee is a good case study. And the reason I say that is, remember, we saw just a complete drop off in the wind shear, and this was last year, and those were the best conditions we had seen all year. I would argue that considering the fact that how long we're going to see all these conditions, all these good conditions, I would compare it to a Lee style environment, except more people are going to get impacted. That's just me though. So take it as you will. What's up?
Yeah, look, go back to that shear map for a second. I will say for the people in the audience, those type of shear maps aren't very good for looking at shear at one specific location, but it's really good for looking at
Overview.
Not an overview, but like areas where like things are like ULACs or tuts, whatever they're called. My mind is really blank today. Features. There we go. Features. We're really good at looking for features, and as you see, it kind of looks like we're developing a upper level anticyclone up there. Many people have talked about that is developing. So that's certainly going to help it, especially with outflow. It's going to really get it going.
Yeah, definitely will. Yeah. Go ahead.
That's why I think the convection has really started to pop off, because exactly what you just said, it's starting to breathe better.
It really is. It's starting to breathe. It's healthy. Things are really going its way a lot sooner than my personal liking. But yeah, so here's a possibility I want to explore with you guys. What do you think? Do you guys think it's possible this develops in 2 days at this current rate?
I wouldn't be too confident in it.
All right.
I wouldn't bet money on it.
That's fair.
Yeah, I kind of agree on that. I mean, maybe in 72 hours, there's a chance.
Sure.
I would say.
Yeah, for sure. The reason I ask that is because given the environment it's in right now, and I'm looking at satellite imagery. Let me go ahead and you guys have access to Tropical Tidbits satellite imagery, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have AWIPS, which is more advanced.
Yeah. Yeah, what's up?
Okay, go on. That was something.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I just sent it to you guys just for reference. I'm looking at the structure of it, and good lord, it's getting more impressive every single satellite image. Now, granted, it's not set in stone just yet, but the reason I highlight that possibility is just because I'm looking at this from a lens right here and just saying, okay, this is not what I wanted to see right here, and this is definitely going a bit ahead of schedule. Now, the question I have right now is, and I want your opinions on this. Is this convection going to sustain? Is it going to continue overnight and then continue during the day, or is this going to be something that fizzles out?
I'd say I mean, looking at it, it's been holding convection over a diurnal minimum. So I'd say probably. It shows quite the healthy tropical wave too.
Agree.
Yeah. Brendan, what's your take on that, if you've been paying attention to satellite imagery? Brendan?
Is Brendan even here?
He's probably
Someone get him.
He's probably AFK right now. We'll keep an eye on it. But anyway, yeah, that's what the thing I'm concerned about right now. Just looking at the satellite presentation right now, it's one hell of a system, even as an area of interest. Next question I have. When do you guys think this will be tagged as an infest?
I'd say within the next day or so.
All right.
I'd say within 48 hours.
Yeah,
I would say that.
for sure.
I mean, if tomorrow night this looks twice as better, and honestly, if it does look like a depression by tomorrow night, I think they can put this as an invest. Probably.
Yeah.
What's today? Friday.
Today's Thursday night.
About to be
It's Thursday night.
Thursday night. So I think about like Saturday morning could be,
All right.
or Saturday morning I could see.
Yeah, I could definitely see it. I'd say 24. I'd say next 24 to 36 hours at the at the quickest. I could definitely see that personally, mainly because of just the rate it's going right now. Now, of course, the past performance doesn't guarantee future results, as Mark Sudduth pointed out, but it's definitely a trend that you need to watch, and definitely something you need to be concerned about, because what you're noticing with all of this is you just even from an hour ago when we started streaming. Let's go ahead and go back to where we were. So this is what we were looking at about an hour ago. Yeah, stuff's starting to organize, stuff's starting to wrap around, but now you're starting to see more of those that convection kind of starting to rotate around the center of circulation, and you're starting to see more of those banding patterns. That's give me a bit of a concern. Now, granted, we're not 100% sure how that's going to evolve, but it definitely gives you a good idea of what might be happening down the road. So, just thought I'd throw that possibility. What's up, guys?
We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, for sure, John. Yeah. Okay. Let's go ahead and take some questions from the chat. But in the meantime, be sure to like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are 35 subs away from 10,000. Let's see if we can get there tonight. So we are 35 subs away, and we will take any questions that you guys have in the chat at this current time.
Hey, may I say something actually?
Sure.
When you have a chance.
Yeah, for sure.
By
Go
all
right
means.
ahead.
Because I heard some people talking about this in the weather community, and I completely agree with them. And I think, I think you guys must heard it too. But the word hyperactive, because I feel like since 2020, we had those 30 named storms. People now expects a busy season to be compared to 2020. And I feel like people kind of took hyperactive as a word, as now we have to get like 20 named storms in just like 3 weeks. Yeah. Hyperactive does not mean like that. And I think you guys can back me up on that.
Oh yeah, we know.
Hyperactive does not mean that. And I think that word has been used way more different than it used to.
Yep.
So if you guys want to talk about that and your opinion on it,
yeah, I can,
go for it.
I can go ahead and say this. Hyperactive, the first time that we could consider a hurricane season hyperactive since 1950 was 2005. And then
Agree.
2020 followed.
Yep. And I can agree with 2017.
2017 didn't quite get there. It was at how hyperactive is measured is through accumulative cyclonic energy.
Yeah.
You need to get over
was up there,
250. 2017 was 217 or 232 or something like
217.
that.
Okay.
One of those two.
So,
Came close, but we weren't quite there yet.
how much was 2020?
It was over 250. I'm not 100% sure. I'll have
okay.
to look. But 30 named storms, and a lot of them being hurricanes.
2020 wasn't over 200.
It wasn't?
No, it was like 150, 160 something.
Whoa, really?
Oh, wow. That's...
Yeah.
Wow.
I guess...
If we don't
Wait,
consider 2017 hyperactive, then we're certainly not considering 2020 to be hyperactive for doing ACE scores.
Yeah, if we're doing it solely on
I'd
ACE,
say-
then 2005 is the winner easily. So...
I'd say 2017 is a very, very good contender
Oh, yeah.
to
Agree.
what people consider hyperactive. Since it had a lot of strong storms, it just didn't live long enough.
Yeah.
It's
I got it.
Yeah.
That makes sense,
It's
though.
one-
I don't think it should be completely upon ACE. It should also be looked on with named storms and with damages. As if we did bet, as most people, if you were told which seasons were hyperactive, if they didn't know that they only had to use ACE, most people would say 2020 and 2017. So
Yeah.
I'd say that we should use certain other factors.
For
Sure, ACE being the most important, but things like damages and general named storms should also be considered.
And the landfalls, I think, is another one.
Yeah, that's what I mean by damages.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, yeah.
In the meantime, though, I'm looking at
I
some
did-
operational runs. The CMC is pretty interesting. I want to say that. And the reason I use that is because 12 hours ago, it wanted the system to move on the east coast of Florida near Miami at 10 days out. It's the next run has shifted this over to the Gulf of Mexico. We're noticing a bigger trend of this. Okay, the icon is starting to come in right now.
Tell you about, I was waiting until we got to 36.
36 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Well, we can do that then. Yeah, icon's starting to come in. Navgem, I really don't take too much stock in it anymore. European has been pretty interesting. The 0Z European went pretty haywire.
Oh, yeah.
One of the 960s millibar system over just south of Cuba, which that's going to be pretty interesting if that plays out. But to be honest with you guys, that's, in my mind, a realistic scenario looking at where the conditions we're looking at right now. And
I agree.
yeah, and that's the scary part
possible.
about this.
I think we have talked about this before.
Yeah.
The Gulf has not really, the motor hasn't really been running. It's been more on relaxation. And I think if we get great conditions and a storm to roll through with the conditions in the Gulf, I can definitely see a pretty powerful hurricane, I would say. I mean, if you compare it with the European ensembles 12Z, I mean, I think it's a little overdone,
Yeah.
but it just, I mean, last time we saw that was with Beryl,
Yep.
and look what Beryl did.
It barreled through the Antilles, Jamaica, and everywhere.
Yeah, and
Sorry,
it
I had to
worries
do
me
that.
what we're seeing. And I think at the 0Z, I think what we're going to see with the 0Z Euro, I wouldn't be surprised the storm is still. I think the storm will be still on with the main model, but I think what I've seen with the 18Z compared to the 12Z ensembles,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised we have a shift from the 12Z to the 0Z and see major hurricane tracks in the Gulf with the ensembles. Wouldn't be surprising.
It wouldn't surprise me either, to be honest, and that's the scary thing. Because
Exactly.
if this thing will enter the Antilles. Sorry, Greg, I know you don't like me saying that. It'll be moving through the Antilles, entering the Caribbean in some of the best conditions and some of the highest ocean heat content I've ever seen.
Agree.
Potentially impacts the Dominican Republic, depending on how far south it goes. Potentially is going to impact Jamaica, which that would be really bad because they had to deal with a Cat 4 barrel going just south of them. And then you have it moving through the northwestern Caribbean. At that point, you have the Yucatan and Cuba in the on pretty much at its path. And from then on out, you have the Gulf of Mexico, where that is notorious for rapidly escalating situations in terms of tropical cyclones, especially over the last 7 years since Hurricane Harvey. Before, the Gulf used to be the kind of trademark where a very strong system moves through there and starts to weaken upon land. That was the kind of thing we noticed. We're not noticing that anymore. Ever since Hurricane Hermine of 2016, that pattern has stopped. And then we had Harvey, which exploded all the way up until landfall. Then we had Nate, which did some stuff somehow as moving 30 miles per hour plus. It became a 90 mile per hour hurricane. Then we had,
I was kind of surprised.
Yeah, and then we have Michael, which started off as a gyre system and then made landfall in Mexico Beach as a Cat 5. We had Barry in 2019, which was early in the season. First hurricane of the season, though. That was kind of interesting. Then 2020, we had several systems do this. Cristobal. I mean, you could argue Laura, but it's halted in intensification before as it moved onto the continental shelf. Then you had then you had Sally. Then you had Delta and Zeta. Now, Delta weakened due to wind shear, but Zeta was quite the thing to look at on satellite. And then you had Ida, and then you had Ian and Adalia. So that's the disturbing part I'm noticing with this. And I know I'm going on a bit of a tirade over here. A lot of people are going, Patrick, why are you going on about this? Patrick, let's talk about the area of interest. The reason I mention a lot of this, and I'm sure everyone here will agree with me, is that it's been trending like that for the last several years, and
I agree.
Yeah. What are your guys' thoughts on my little tirade? I'm sorry, I stole the show a bit.
No, you're good. I completely agree with you on that. I think if you look at the facts, you looked at the years, I think you're right on that. And that's another thing. The waters are maybe not the warmest ever on record, but what I've been noticing, records in the Atlantic has been breaking quite a bit more, I feel.
Definitely.
In my lifetime.
Yeah, for sure. It's something to still watch for sure. And that's why I'm so concerned with the system like this entering the Gulf of Mexico.
I agree.
Yeah. Now, with the Gulf of Mexico, we don't know what we're going to we don't know exactly what we're going to get. And I don't take too much stock in this, but if we looked at the wind shear for today, and it happened today, and all the conditions that it said stopped at this, the eastern Gulf would not be a favorable part for development. But I've been talking about this the last several days. A new pattern's coming in and the weaker wind shear is moving into the Gulf of Mexico over that current point. There is a little bit of a trough that's dipping into Florida, into the Bahamas, that area, before ridging back up towards the mid-Atlantic, subtropical Atlantic, and then just going from there. So, just thought I'd bring that up very quickly. But the reason I talk about this is, especially in the Gulf of Mexico, this pattern is going to change. Matter of fact, I want to take a look at the shear forecast just to pique my own curiosity, just to kind of take a look at this. Here's the wind shear forecast right here. Yeah, you're going to see that change in wind shear right there, and then you're going to see a more eastern Gulf of Mexico friendly pattern from this. And yeah, the trough definitely moves to the deep south, and if a system does enter that region over there, I would say that unless we see this trough lift, we're going to see a situation where it's going to enhance the outflow initially and then start to chip at the core, similar to what we saw with Debbie and Adalia, or B, it pulls an Ian, and we all know what happened with that. But anyway, just some scenarios I'm taking a look at. But that's just some things you have to look at in long term if you want to watch this system. And for those watching in the United States, taking a look at it. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Do we have any questions in the chat right here? If while we're waiting for them, be sure to like the stream and subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are 30 subscribers away from 10,000. So if we hit that tonight, that would be much appreciative. I would really like to see that. So hit that subscribe button. Be sure to do that. In the meantime, we will take questions either in the chat or through our Discord server. And if you have a mic, we can take care of it. We can move you through in all those areas. So, Yoshi, what's this you got for us?
Icon run at 66 hour. This is the first frame where it has a decent closed low level center.
Oh.
Where's the wind? Oh, wait, I see. Okay, I see.
These are 500 millibar heights.
Oh, okay.
But
never mind.
You said 66 hours, right?
Yes, I did.
Like I said, 72 hours is possible.
It definitely is
I'm
now.
looking at 72 hour. That just came in, and it's showing stronger winds and an even more defined center now.
That's bad news. That is very concerning. And this is still before it gets to the Antilles, right?
Yes.
Yep. I'm looking at it.
I mean, given the fact that it's going to be driving into very low wind shear and ultimately the best conditions it has. And the thing is, it's moving at a speed where it's not going to tear itself apart by its forward motion.
Oh, wow.
What's up?
I see it.
Yeah.
In live, no mic. I'm looking at it.
Let me take... Oh, okay. Hey, John, Brendan, if you're there, take a look at what Yoshi's sending in live, no mic.
Wait.
78 just came in. I'm gonna... Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is a closed isobar at 500 millibars.
It's weakened a bit, but it still has a elongated center. I wouldn't say it's formed by then.
All right.
I'm gonna take back that LLC statement.
So it's gonna take some time to organize. Okay, that's
according to ICOM, but it went pretty damn close.
Yeah, and given the rate it's going at right now, it's gonna be probably having that fluctuation, but oh boy. Yeah.
Well, in terms of wind speeds, it has actually downticked on it.
Yeah, I have noticed that a little bit.
Okay, 84 came in now. And it is, once again, it has a closed isobar apparently. It is heading towards the islands with, what is this?
That's
Almost tropical storm force. No, tropical storm force winds, yeah.
yeah.
Right at
Yeah.
its north.
Is that closed? That closed isobar is south of Barbados, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
We might have a big problem on our hand if it does that.
If it keeps going like this, we should see an actually like secured Lowe's Clo and actual form system by 90.
Oh, I know that part of it, but the reason I say we may have a major problem with that is this is heading for the same area Barrel hit, and that would put it on a trajectory to move through the most OHC I have ever seen in the Caribbean Sea, and then enter the Gulf of Mexico
Oh,
at that trajectory.
I'm not gonna lie, but I'm kind of not liking that sound.
Yeah, that's looking at stuff like that, small details like that really scare the crap out of me. And granted, it's just one model run.
Only now have I realized that there is indeed an 850 millibar option. I always assumed there was.
Yeah,
no
go take a look at the
850
850. I want to see that.
Okay, so it's quite the shadowed low, I will tell you.
All
Not
right.
the closed off, almost closed off low that we've seen on 500, but we do see a much bigger wind profile.
Oh,
Damn.
okay. We're looking at, what is this? 35 to 40 knots? Yeah.
I'm seeing 34 to 37 knots.
Yeah. This system is going to, according to this icon run, if what I'm seeing is accurate, this system's going to be impacting the Windward Islands. If that's what I'm seeing. And the Windward Islands are further south than what I wanted to see. Now, granted, any case of this entering the Caribbean would be awful, of course. But, yeah, I've already kind of elaborated on all that, so.
I do say we are seeing quite the downtick, especially on a vorticity on the system.
All right.
What?
That's interesting. We'll have to see how that plays out. We're getting a couple questions. Will Panama City be affected? Panama City, I mean, that's a little too early for us to determine right now. We'll have to watch it. It really depends on each model run, and it's going to depend on how the system evolves in the next couple of days. So, yeah, it's just too early. You're going to need to watch it. It's something to be concerned about, but it's too early to determine. So, all right. Pat, 2004 season, September 1st through the 21st, Florida was hit by 4 hurricanes back to back. I think we're setting up for that type of pattern. What do I think? I don't think it's going to be that. I don't think it's going to be that extreme. I know you had Charlie, Francis, Ivan, and Jean in that time. Again, it's too early to determine based off of what we're seeing right now. But I'll definitely keep an eye on it. So, I'll let you know. Okay. All right. That's, I will say, what are your thoughts on the latest icon run, guys?
I think quite a bit out.
I need
the 108 came in. Before anyone else answers the question, I do want to put a bit more up as 108 just came out.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, whenever you're ready. We'll take a look at that and we'll show our audience.
There is
Oh,
vorticity. Let me
that's
grab precipitation type.
that is
Okay, that's
concentrated.
Can you? What was the last run with the vortex?
I'm gonna need to check last one. Let me get last one for vorticity.
I'll check as well.
Or yeah.
Yeah, it's still quite the downtrend, but it is catching up.
Okay, this is the 12Z, 0Z. We're at 114 hours out on the precip. I will say a weaker system entering the Caribbean Sea.
What mean more west?
I'm sorry?
I was about to say means more west. And I have a question.
Go ahead. Whenever you're ready. Weather Kingdom?
Jeez. It's probably disconnected. Oh, 114 came out.
Yeah.
It is
He's
1,000.
muted. He's muted. Okay.
Oh, he's muted?
Yeah,
Guess
he
he
just
had to leave.
disconnected. All right. We'll wait for him to come
Dang.
back in. And yeah, so I'm looking at 114 right now as well. Yeah, that's definitely interesting for sure. From the icon. Yeah, I will say a weaker system would initially be better news, but with the conditions it's given and it entering the Caribbean Sea, that it's a double-edged sword from what I'm seeing. It's a double-edged sword. It may not impact the Antilles as much, but down the road that could cause some major problems, especially with the conditions it's given. Now, granted, nothing's set in stone, but that's something I'm paying attention to. Also noticing more convection firing up all around the system. It's not just in a few isolated areas. It's like to the west of it, it's to the east of it, it's even to the south of it in some instances. So yeah, convection, like I've been saying all night, has been firing on all cylinders once again, and that's the kind of evolutionary track we are watching. So, all right.
I am going to split my focus here. I am also talking to someone on the team about something.
All right.
So sorry if I'm sometimes not answering. I'm not 100% focusing on it. Wish I could, but to me and to that person, it is quite important. So.
All right, that's fine. Whenever you're ready, that's fine. In the meantime, I'll just keep an eye on
all
stuff.
Right.
What? What's up?
I said, yeah, right.
All right. Yeah. So that's what we're looking at. For those of you just joining us, we are continuing to watch the evolution and give you updates on this area of interest. Right now, this convection has been firing on all cylinders tonight as we've been watching it, as this poses a potential threat towards the Lesser Antilles and areas past there, as we are continuing to see more and more model runs and more data come in for this. This system has been organizing faster than anticipated. Satellite imagery already looks relatively impressive, and outflow is visibly starting to show. It's been a lot more visible over the last few hours, and that's generally not a good sign, because whenever you see outflow, that means ventilation is about to start or is starting, and that's when you start seeing this. That's when you start seeing this system start to take off a little bit more. The main questions we are working on right now is if A, how quick is this going to develop? B, once it develops, what's it going to do next? And C, what are the conditions it's given to it? Well, the conditions it's given to it are pretty obvious. We have some of the best conditions ahead of it for the next week or so in terms of wind shear, in terms of water temperature, in terms of ocean heat content, and in terms of moisture. I have not seen a pattern like this since Hurricane Lee of last year, where we just had days of good conditions, and that is scaring the bejesus out of me. So ultimately, that's what the main thing we are paying attention to, just to keep you up to speed. Be sure to like the stream and subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are less than 30 subscribers away from 10,000. So let's see if we can get there tonight. That would be much appreciated. Thank you for all the support you've been taking a look at. But I'm going to continue reading stuff in the chat, and I'm also going to be looking at new information and data for you guys. Icon model continues to come in on Tropical Tidbits. We're down to 78 hours over there, as well as on Pivotal Weather over here. Newest frames are coming out. And okay, that's definitely an uptick in Vorticity over there. We're seeing a lot more concentrated stuff going on.
What are you looking at?
I'm looking at 850 Vorticity on Pivotal Weather.
All right. On the icon, I assume?
On the icon, yeah. I'm going to zoom in on this. Yeah, take a look at the 132 hours. That's interesting. That's a lot. That's quite a bit.
I wouldn't say it's an uptick versus last one. It's a downtick from 12Z, if anything.
Yeah, it definitely is, for sure. But the reason I'm looking at it now is... just let me see. I want to take a look at the main sea level pressure. It's 1,004 millibar system south of Hispaniola, which compared to where we were at 12 hours ago, I'll have to move that back at 132. At 132, this thing will actually end up allowing me to do that. I'll just go ahead and. Did not want to do that. I apologize. Here's the 0Z. 138 hours is out. 1,002. So it definitely is increasing. But at this point, 12 hours ago, it was at 997. So it is a bit of a downtick. So, yeah.
Oh, I'm seeing that Texas thing.
Yeah, I'm watching that too. I'm noticing a quick spin up. Over there, potentially impacting Texas over there. The 0Z really wants this thing to organize and develop into a tropical storm, but where's it coming from? That's the question. It looks like a low pressure system forms just off the coast of Texas and stays there for a few days and then starts to get its act together and bring a ton of rainfall. That's going to be interesting to take a look at. And I want to see if other models are corroborating this down the road. Because if that's the case, then Texas is going to have a very rainy week up ahead. So that's something to watch. Another thing we're looking at tonight.
A middle-end tropical storm and a higher-end tropical storm. So that's going to be fun. Wonder if NH is going to get that, assuming that other models are up with this.
Yeah. There's nothing's been tagged by the NHC just yet. I just found it interesting, considering how this is going to, how the icon wants this going, and I'm curious to see where exactly it's coming from, because that is interesting to me. But then again, it just could be the icon run being iconic for doing stuff like this. So that too.
Yeah, but I do want to see other models on this before we completely ignore it.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. What other models have come in as of late? Let's see. Yeah, I guess the NAM is in, but we don't use that. That's a mesoscale model. The icon's the only run that's in. That's a 0Z so far. So that's definitely something to watch. If other models are picking up on it, then we might have a flooding issue on our hand in Texas. If not, we'll watch it, and then 12Z run comes in, shows nothing, and we can just chalk it off as an odd run. So definitely something to watch. Definitely something to pay attention to me, for me as well. But yeah, we're still talking about that tropical wave, Justin. I know. We were just taking a look at that because one of the runs had something going on, And we were just saying, okay, something's interesting. And we were just kind of figuring out, okay, where's this coming from? So that's just why we were kind of pivoting from there. We're watching this wave over here, which, looking at satellite imagery, its presentation continues to impress me, to say the very least. Going back to infrared over here.
Oh, we're seeing hurricane force winds on it now, 71 knots.
Okay. On the icon?
Yes.
Oh, yes, we are. Oh, yes, we are.
Despite being slightly less organized and slightly higher pressure, Visvan actually has more hurricane force winds than last time it did.
I can understand why, because I'm looking at it. The last one was a larger system last time. Like, you take a look at it had a larger wind field. This one has a smaller wind field, if you notice that, if you pick up on it.
Yeah. This one is 81 knots on the latest frame now. On the latest frame was 156, but 162 came out right as I said that.
Yep. Yeah, we're down to 986 millibars. This looks like, according to this, a buzzsaw. And where were
95. It's a category 2, apparently.
At 986?
Yeah. Just found a 93 knot.
That's interesting. That's a high-end Cat 2, if that verifies. Yeah, the icon really wants things to ramp up, so we're just watching this frame by frame.
And the icon is now developing the second wave.
Yeah. Hey, radar bolts here. Yeah. All right, 168. We're down to 977. Okay, this thing's really going off the coast of Jamaica.
I'm seeing a 100. However, I could definitely see I'm measuring 100 in there. I've seen 3 100 spots. However, easily there could be a 105 in there if I looked hard enough.
Oh, I know. Oh yeah, for sure. How do I zoom in on this?
You can't.
Oof. Well, regardless, we're down to 977, and what the icon is showing, at least from what I'm seeing, is ultimately, yeah, it starts off weaker, but as soon as it taps into those Caribbean conditions, that's when it takes off. And that's that scary scenario I was talking about earlier, because you have all this happening, you have all this going on, and now you have a scenario where this system is rapidly intensifying in the Caribbean, and it's going to strike some sort of land. And it has so many options. It could impact the Yucatan. It could swing north and impact Cuba. It could move through the Yucatan Straits and impact the Gulf Coast, which is something absolutely we do not need. But either one of these scenarios is going to be bad. So, yeah, that's when you start seeing things really ramp up and things continue to take off. So, yeah, be sure to like the stream and subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are 24 subscribers away from 10,000. Let's see if we can get that tonight, and we will answer some questions in the chat. Will it hit Texas? That's a little too early to determine. But I will say, if this does strike the Yucatan Peninsula and head in that direction, then there's definitely a more likely possibility. But in the meantime, we're looking at this system at 174 hours out. We're down to 976 millibars, so it has leveled off a little bit, but still intensifying and still moving west-northwest. So that's a bit concerning. I know I've been saying.
All right, it's finally getting the hurricane force winds around itself. Originally, it was just north of it.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of full eye wall on it.
Yep. And that's one of those scenarios I was worried about. It's starting off slow and then ramping up as the night went on. And yeah, that's always great to see whenever it goes off. And I want to take a look at this and compare that to the ocean heat content, because where it's at southwest of Jamaica, where it's over is an area of over 175 OHC, Yoshi. That's not
Speaking of that,
what? What's up?
true. Speaking of that, new thing came in at 180. I'm not seeing the 100 knot winds anymore, but it definitely does look symmetrical now.
My guess is underwent an eyewall replacement cycle because the wind feels larger.
Wouldn't be too surprised.
Yeah, that's my guess. It went under a partial ERC, and that's what ended up happening. So, yep.
All right, now we gotta switch to CMC because that should be loading by now. Sadly,
Yeah.
Pivotal Weather doesn't have CMC, I think, which is weird. I thought it did, but I may be completely wrong. Nope, CMC is not loading so far. I thought it was the second model run to load.
Oof.
Guess not.
Yeah, I would really love to see.
All right, let's look at Let's hop onto GFS then, since that should be loading its next run within 10 minutes.
Yeah, GFS. Nothing's on Tropical Tidbits just yet. Looking at Pivotal Weather, GFS, nothing just yet. So, and the GFS, I want to see what the 0Z brings out, because the GFS has been very wonky in this. I mean, it's just been very up and down. It's been very inconsistent in terms of developing the system, where the rest of the models have been a lot more consistent. So I just thought that was kind of interesting and something to take a look at. So, yeah.
I am going to look at the CMC run, since that's the only thing I haven't looked at yet, actually. It definitely develops this. I expected that, and it very narrowly develops our second system. It's definitely upticked since its last run before then. If it does do it now, the CMC.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, from the 0Z to the 12Z. Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It has it pushing further to the west, too. Instead of being over Cuba, it's now south of Cuba. So that's nice to see. And then it enters the Gulf of Mexico. We were actually looking at this earlier, as a matter of fact. And right then and there, it's entering the loop current. Always nice to see.
Damn, I'm getting impatient with the GFS.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I definitely am as well.
Uticron, what was his name?
Utatron, that's Tristan.
Yeah, I had a feeling. He's coming back to the server for reasons I do want to talk to you after the stream.
Sure. For sure we can talk about that.
I don't know if he's gonna come on to the VC, but if he is, that would be pretty great. But he doesn't have to.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead and do that very quickly. That'll be interesting to see what he has to say in this about all this.
The Kristen fans will certainly be happy.
Oh yeah. I remember everyone going crazy when he debuted that back in early August. Well, earlier this month. Yeah, but anyway, we'll have to see if he wants to. We'll have to see if he wants to come on and talk about this. All right, but regardless, regardless, though, we're just kind of waiting for more information, more data to come in. I'm looking at satellite imagery, looking at what else? So I'm looking at model runs, looking at pretty much everything that can give me a signal and give me a sign to give to you what may be going on. Because I think the main thing we're noticing from all this, Yoshi, is a general shift to the west.
Yes. And
that's kind of a concern and something I want to highlight right there, because what we're noticing with that is that
Kyle.
what's up?
Daniel's here.
Oh, Daniel's here. What's up? Daniel? Oh, he's deafened. Okay.
Oh, he's muted and deafened.
Yeah, give him a second. He might want to come on. Yeah, he's
Okay,
on
I'm
deafened.
back.
Hello?
Yeah.
We can hear you. How are you doing?
Animating.
Why are you so animated?
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Animating.
Ah. Oh yeah. Anyway, the tropics have been pretty interesting to say the very least.
Honestly, until the Atlantic starts going, I'm more interested on what on earth Hone is doing.
Yeah, I've been looking at that as well. It looks like it might get
supposed to become a typhoon.
Yep, I've been watching that as well. But Daniel, have you been watching this area of interest in the Atlantic? It looks, from what we're looking at it, if you take a look at satellites.
You mean the two areas of interest now?
Yeah, we have two areas of interest, of course. We have one 1050 and another 020. So, yeah, the 1050 is the one that we're mainly talking about tonight, because this does pose a threat towards the Lesser Antilles and other areas in the Caribbean Sea. So
now I will say, just based off what I've seen on model guidance, with this storm, I've not seen it ramp up. Now, all this can change, of course, but from just what I've been seeing for model runs, it doesn't really ramp up until it's past the Leeward Islands. So at least for now, that's a good sign. But that's also a bad sign once it hits the Caribbean. It's going to do something to Cuba.
Yep.
And something in the Gulf. Unlike what we were thinking what this thing was going to do and just go flying out to sea. Weather patterns are changing. The steering currents are changing. Since this thing is taking its sweet, gorgeous time.
It really is, yeah. And we've been watching.
It keeps like changing its low between the clouds somewhere in there.
Yeah, that's.
We thought it was gonna be there. That now it's like back here with this other blast convection. Which low is gonna become more dominant is the question. The one behind it is way more dominant, but we've seen ones dominant before and they die out. So
yeah, we were watching this wave back here as well. It found its source of convection very quickly from what we were noticing. And because you know as well as I do, whenever big scary tropical waves come off the coast of Africa, they tend to lose a lot of their convection. This one did lose quite a bit of it, but it found its source very quickly and it's acting on it real fast.
And oddly, if you look at it, I don't know if it's just me right now, but technically looks like there might be even a third spot that could try. Because you have the one that's right off the coast of Africa, and then you have this one that's directly next to it, this other blob that's also
that's coming towards the other area of interest.
Yeah, who knows what that does, but that seems to have a more prominent thing with it. Now again, that could just be it. Both of those could just merge together. Mm-hmm. Now the other area of interest, me just looking at satellite right now, it's definitely looking better than some past days.
Sure.
I'm currently looking at it.
Where's it at first? Where's it located at?
I'm looking at the main low that we're focusing on.
All right.
The 50% in 7 days.
Yeah.
1050.
Yep.
Now I'm trying to look at the satellite loop over the last 3 hours, see if I can try to find a rough low here. This is what I do in my free time because I have nothing better to do.
Okay.
Rough
Yeah.
center is kind of
Yeah.
it's half, from what I'm seeing, it's half exposed, which is
Yeah.
to be expected. On the northern end, so it's very lopsided right now. All the convection's on the lower half, and the top half is
Yeah.
completely dried air and intrude.
Yeah, I've watched it too, but we actually have a donation for tonight from Lemon Lizard, $11.11. First of all, thank you for the donation. That really helps us out here in the Pat's Path Predictor channel. Are you predicting a September hit for Southwest Florida as likely or not likely? Thank you. Thanks. Love your show, guys. Florida. At least for the Southwestern
won't-
Florida aspect of it, it's a little too early to determine. At this current point, we'll have to see how the pattern sets up and how the steering currents play out. But thank you for the donation. We really appreciate that. And we hope to see you around some more.
Yeah.
What's up?
What I'm going to say about that question is, obviously, as Pat just said, it's a little too early to say. But I will say anybody between probably the east side of Florida and probably the South Carolinas to, I would say, maybe Texas should be keeping an eye on it. It could go either way depending on the steering currents, but I would say it's probably going to go very edge of Texas, more Louisiana, kind of like a Laura thing, either that direction, or it's going to go what kind of, I find it to be more common for these storms go straight into the panhandle, and that's where it's looking like it's gonna go.
Yeah,
I hate
watched
to say
it
that
as well.
because the panhandle has been hit so many times with so many devastating storms in the past few years. It just seems to be the tendency in the last few years. And that's kind of what the models are showing around there in the Louisiana.
For sure. Thank you for helping with me with that.
At least right now.
All right, I'm gonna be concerning models. I'm gonna be a bit delayed on it because apparently Pivotal Weather for me has sent too many requests. Too much people are using it, so that's fun. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yep, I just got it back. Oh, the GFS is coming in. GFS is.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at.
Yeah.
Also, in the GFS run, there seems to be like another low that tries to form in the bottom portion of the Gulf. That would be a small little wave, maybe a tropical depression, but that would be a Mexico.
Is this heading towards Texas or Mexico?
None, Mexico, but who knows? You never know. It could maybe diverge to South Texas. We've seen that before this year.
Yeah, I know the icon was showing a scenario of a tropical storm just off the coast of Texas, and we didn't take too much stock into it. At least I didn't.
Me over here be like, GFS, why do you want a 957 millibar storm hitting right in between Louisiana and the Panhandle?
Yeah. Anyway, look who is in the chat. Mr. David Schlotthauer himself. First of all, David, how are you doing? And second of all, we have a pretty interesting situation on our hands in regards to things that are going on. Let me go ahead and do this real quickly. But yeah, I hope you're doing all right. First of all, but yeah, we're looking at the GFS right now. We're at 24 hours out at this current point. We're not seeing too much just yet. I do see like maybe a little bit of something out here east of the Lesser Antilles, but we'll have to wait for another 42 hours of stuff to come out. So, yeah.
By the way, other forecast. So, I'm just gonna point this out while we're
sure
bit of in between topics here, but I just want to go quickly back to Hone because I'm looking at the model guidance on
That's fine. We can
it.
take a quick look at that, but while we're waiting for more hours in the GFS to come in.
Yeah, because we have time, a little time to kill on that. So GFS, well, at least based off the previous model run, the one right before this one, GFS is currently showing Hone strengthened back up to, what is it in millibars? Its peak is 984. So that would probably make it a low end typhoon.
Yeah, for sure.
If it's at the international date line by that point.
All right.
Which would be actually fairly rare for a storm to do.
Yep.
I don't know what the last one was, but it's definitely happened before. But I don't think I was tracking one that ever did that. I've been tracking since 2017. So, to be fair,
David would like to join the VC. Daniel, you keep talking. I'm just
Bring him in.
What?
Bring him in.
Yeah, David, I sent you an invite to Storms United. You'll be in if you're not.
Wasn't he already in here?
He left to take care of some stuff. I sent you an invite, David, to Storms United, so that way. Just go ahead and join. We'll get you in here. But Daniel, please go ahead while we're getting him in.
Ooh. GFS run, by the way. I'm just looking a little ahead into the run. I'm not going like all the way to the 300-hour mark. That's where it really gets too crazy on the GFS. But I'm going around the 144-hour out range, and we seem to possibly have another, I would say probably another major, if not violent, typhoon on our hands. Now, again, everybody, don't panic, especially in that side of the world, because again, a little far out, but knowing how the Westpac is, it's.
We'll say looking at 36-hour main wave does have a better elongated center. Still very elongated, but it's a tiny bit better.
Yep. Yeah. All right, David. I just told you, just go ahead and join Livestream VC. We're in there on the air right now. Daniel's in here, Yoshi's in here, Brendan's in here, but he's been AFK for a while, so we're ready for. Oh, there he is. Hello, David.
Kilowatt hour.
Mr. David, how are you doing, man?
Doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Doing wonderful. This is your second time on the Pat's Path Predictor streams.
Yeah, just got done with Bible study, so I was barely able to make it. I saw that you were live right after after we ended our Bible session, and then I saw, Pat's live.
Well, you're live just in time because we're talking about Tropics, and we're 14 subscribers away from 10,000, so we're trying to get up to there tonight, so yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
So to discuss this tropical wave right now, if you could, I'm going to share my screen,
Sure.
And you could put it on your stream. I haven't done this before, so wish me luck that this is pretty successful.
All right. Yeah.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
Yep. I am live right now, so
Okay.
let me know if they could see the screen.
Let me go ahead and set it up for us. You guys can see it, right? At least those in VC.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead, David.
No, I want to make sure my viewers can, or your viewers. Well,
you guys, one in the chat if you can see David's screen right now. I know I set it up all right, but one in the chat if you can see him.
We can all see it.
Yeah.
All right. So, I'm sure they can see it all. So, I can't believe we have almost 300 people watching, and I'm actually using my iPad to share my screen.
Yeah.
I haven't done this before, so hopefully it's successful. So looking at the GFS model right now, we're getting our new model in right now, so we are not going to be able to bring that in to the stream for a while because it's rendering. I wouldn't want to wait for the model until it's done anyway. So as we do take a look first at the National Hurricane Center, just doing my little analysis here, we do have a 50% chance of tropical development in the Caribbean. Well, this area that is circled in and really fits well with the latest EPS ensemble forecast, which kind of engulfs the Eastern Caribbean there with a 50% chance of development. And of course, this chances are going to go up as this continues to move off towards the west. Very interesting that there has been a huge southerly shift in the track forecast on the ensemble. I thought this would actually kind of pull north of the islands, but unfortunately, because the ridge to the north is being a little bit more dominant, well, given that the fact that we're in the sinking phase of the MJO as a CCKW moves into the central Atlantic, that's to be expected. So as we do take a look also at our second disturbance too, that's going to need to be watched in days ahead. So as we go and take a look here, let's go over to our imagery. So we're not going to talk about TD Hone because it's kind of doing its own little willy-nilly thing.
Yeah, I know
Instead,
Daniel was talking about it a little bit on the stream.
Yeah. So as we do, actually, will this even work? Hold on. Oops, not that. Let me actually do Zoom Earth. Because
right.
Zoom Earth, I can actually Zoom Earth. I like their tools that they provide. And then, I can download the app. How awesome is that? So if we play this, I guess, can we? Oh, yeah, we can. So we can see our tropical system right here. Actually, this is not going to give us, actually right here, going to give us a better idea during the day, of course. So something interesting here is this area of vorticity right here seems to be concentrating. I wish I can bring a pin up on this. I wish they could provide some of the drawing tools. Fortunately, or unfortunately, they don't. But we can see there is a Vortex that is developing here on the western side of the envelope of energy. But we also have another area of Vortex down here to its west with actually some arc clouds earlier today, which indicated some drier air is in the vicinity of this big patch of wave energy. Hopefully the screen share does not stop because I'm going to share my
That's fine.
I'm going to doodle daddle here. The only way we could actually do this is through the Apple version. So there's a. Oh, he's not working. Oh my gosh. Okay, please cooperate with me.
Technology be a pain.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
Oh, you know why? Because there we go. That's why my pins were hiding away from me. So there is that Vortex. Here's another Vortex over here. Very interesting. We have a lot of convergence happening within this little trio of convergence. Oh my gosh, my drawing is terrible. So until something actually develops there, the models are going to have a hard time. And we can see that here easily, like this kind of from tropical tidbits can take note of that flow kind of coming all the way around. Seems like this area over here, like Pat was even saying earlier, is starting to get a bit better organized, but you might think that, it's really organizing quickly, but it is going to struggle. There is some dry air around the system. Let's not forget about that. The MJO is in its sinking phase. Other than that, CCKW, that is over the area at the moment. But the expectation is that this system more than likely has enough deep convection right now to at least spark a fire. In other words, like the engine analogy that I talked about, it's kind of like the engine's almost ready to turn over. Once it turns over, I think it's going to be idling, and then it's going to start revving its engine over the next couple of days.
Good evening, everybody. I do apologize, David. Good evening.
Yeah, so the latest GFS right now has this, did an analysis. Man, I can't even talk tonight.
It's okay. Take your time.
So 0Z right now has this, is just coming in right now, and the system is kind of miscombobulated. We have a little bit of a Vortex. Let me screenshot that again and bring out my lovely tools. So, of course, there's this Vortex and there's another Vortex. Boy, it's going to be interesting. Does this one take the show, or does this one take the show? That's going to be important.
Yeah.
Until one becomes dominant. Now, I don't know if this is a GFS bias kind of thing or a Canadian or a Euro. Euro's been more consistent with its output of where a circulation develops. But yeah, we do have kind of this grapevine, we call it, of the intertropical convergence zone, where which wave really takes hold, and whichever one does will be the dominant, more pro-dominant kind of thing. Let's see what our icon actually shows here. So I'm going to go to the Caribbean.
And I do agree on what David says. And I said this multiple times on live streams, where I keep having to tell the viewers we will not know what this system will do until the dominant low pressure forms. And monsoon like situations like this, we're not going to know the exact position of the low. Even the smallest position could do the future outcome of a system, especially with steering currents in the future. So we got to really pay attention to where that low forms.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tristan has joined us for the stream tonight. I know a lot of you guys are probably really happy he's in here. But I wanted to ask both of you guys a quick question. David and Tristan.
Go ahead, David. Continue your analysis.
I wanted to ask a quick question very quickly, if that's okay.
Yeah, just do. Yep. Go ahead.
All right. Is it possible that those two Vortexes are kind of isolated and to the point where they're not of the same system, and maybe it's just one of these systems, it's just two separate systems. One of them is going to fizzle out, and the other one will end up being the main system. Is it possible it's two separate systems instead of just that being the entire wave?
Yeah, it is very possible. So other ways we can see this is, of course, if we go to CIMS. Okay, I have to actually head out here in about 10 minutes, so that's why I want to kind of get a lot of my discussion. Yeah, that's fine.
I just wanted to ask that very quickly.
Yeah. So let's go to here. So there are other tools that we can use here. So let's go to wind and analysis, and let's go to our 850 millibar vorticity. Models are not going to resolve this, but the deep convection, where it's deepest. Okay, where it's deepest is going to be very key. Right now, the deepest convection that is probably the more dominant head of all of this is going to be that eastern Vortex that is shaping up. Now, does that continue to fire convection, or does this western flank of the wave really permutate and develop into something? That is, again, to be determined. But what we could see here is on the icon model, we got our 0Z output in. This is a look at the 500 millibar steering flow. Again, we got our subtropical ridge to the northwest, unlike other systems where the ridge has been more to the east, allowing fish storm, well, not really a fish storm, but more out to sea kind of tracks. This one is going to be very different because if we go forward, this ridge is not going to erode there's not much troughing out here near the Florida coast or the eastern seaboard to erode the flank of this ridge. So on the icon model, what we end up seeing is a system, of course, approaching the Windward Islands. So if you're in Trinidad and Tobago here on the 500 Vortex, again, I explain this a lot in my videos. The darker the red, the more spin you have in the atmosphere, and 500 millibars is at 18,000 feet. So if we go forward in time here, how does this kind of move? Well,
and David, real quick, I want to point out something to the viewers. I apologize. I want to let them know this is that if it doesn't form in time, the monsoon can technically collide with the tropical wave and make one really strong system too. We've seen that before with the gyre and tropical wave.
Sure. Go ahead, David. Sorry. Go ahead.
It's all right. It's all right. So if we take a look at our 500 millibar ridge here, we can see again, of course, the higher the heights. I don't really talk much about this in my video because I like to keep my videos short, simple, and sweet, instead of just going on and on and on and talking about, oh, what's this height line? What's these wind barbs, right? I save that for the live streams to help out Pat and my channel as well.
All right.
So this is basically a ridge, 594 decameters. It's pretty thick at 18,000 feet, thick heights. And so the big thing about this is this ridge is going to kind of move west in unison to the tropical wave that is going to be or tropical wave at this point, or storm to its south. And so does this do a grace situation? Can this ridge actually move all the way west along the system? We just don't know yet. And there's a lot of people already. I've seen it. I'm not calling out people, but it's on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, you name it all. People saying, oh, this is going to be a Gulf storm. Right now, there is a 50-50 chance because maybe it does turn north right before Jamaica. Maybe Isaias situation. All depends. This is a complicated setup. Models right now, until this develops, first of all, we first have to get the engine started. And then once the engine is started, where do you want to go? Do you want to go to Walmart, Target, or Costco?
Okay.
So kind of, that's a little bit of an analogy that I wanted to bring up there.
So in this case, Walmart would be the Yucatan, Costco would be Cuba, and Target would be the Gulf of Mexico.
Pretty much.
All right.
So now, so this system on the icon does go pretty far west now. We're looking at just south of base, perhaps Jamaica. We'll see if this gets into the Gulf or not. Now, it's not just maybe you watching this system in the Caribbean. There's also another system that many people are not talking about. I'm not really going to discuss much about it in my updates in the future until it really becomes a big problem, because, of course, the more concern is people watching this system than maybe something off the coast of Texas. But still, we're looking at a tropical-like disturbance off the Texas coast. Going to bring in some rough weather, rain, wind, and some surf on the order of about 5 to 10 feet, or about 3 to 5 or so feet, but nothing right now with that system. We'll see what the NHC decides to kind of initiate an outlook on it. That would be 3 areas to watch. Wow.
Yep.
What 2 days makes when it comes to the tropics. We'll wait for the Canadian. We'll wait for the Canadian, and we'll wait for the rest of the GFS run. And right now, it's still running. We're out to 102 hours.
Yeah.
And actually, really quick. Hold on, really quick. Pat.
Yeah.
This is not going to be a good run of the GFS, not indicating anything in about 4 days. So I'm
throwing that out already.
This is literally, I don't know what the GFS is on right now. We'll see what.
Let's go back to the zero Z just for my curiosity with the. The CMC is coming out. Okay.
This is going to be one of those situations where the models are not really a good guideline. It's going to be a nowcasting because monsters.
Yeah. So what I think. So let me explain really quick.
Sure.
So what I think is going on is, again, that Vort max is stretched. Okay, it's like a grapevine. It's like a grapevine. You have to kind of pull that system off of the grapevine and it's got to kind of go milling around away from that vine. The models are really having a hard time when it detaches. Okay, these systems physically have to detach themselves away from that intertropical convergence zone, the ITCZ for short. Okay. And so until that happens, models are going to give some weird speculation on this. Okay. And for those people, I don't want to really self-promote. I'm not here to do that, but
Sure.
some people making the shorts video that I made on my channel was more of kind of a sarcasm kind of thing. I was just kind of doing some trial and error on that. And I showed the 18Z being a major hurricane in the Gulf Coast. Now, you should just kind of say, all right, we'll see if it hits the Gulf Coast. Again, that's really far out. That was like 280, 300 hours out. That is very far out. I got to be careful with what I show, of course. But there's that situation. Does this get into the Gulf? Does this turn out to sea? It could still theoretically do that, but the chances are a little lower. Or could this kind of go like a Hurricane Grace kind of thing, where it kind of hits like Belize and then moves into the southern Gulf of Mexico? There's a lot of possible outcomes based on where this develops. Where does the vorticity focus? All right. I don't know why the GFS, I don't know how it cannot see this very well versus the Canadian model or the Icon model. I think, well, we'll see what the Canadian shows once it kind of gets in. Right now, we're up to 90 hours, but also it's not showing it either. So, I mean, this is pretty crazy. I mean, none of the models, the Canadian has it really, really weak, very interesting, and only the Icon has a bit of a handle on this. So now we have lost two models on this system tonight, the Canadian and GFS model. So all I'm going to say is still
watch it.
Still a lot of uncertainty. I'll tell you what, though, even so there's a lot of uncertainty, there is a very high ceiling for this system. The reason why is, really quickly, is the upper ocean heat content in the Caribbean is absolutely insane. Sea surface temperatures are there. The environment, a little bit of shear, maybe 10 or 15 knots of shear, not preventing a system from developing. But will this attempt to develop? We shall see. Models are just not handling this very well. And I would still refer to the NHC, my channel, and Pat's channel for more information, because this could change in a hurry.
Yes,
all right,
of course.
That is it with the discussion. I'm going to actually have to head off. I'm going to actually go to eat at fast food at Cane's, and then I'm going to home after that and talk to Ethan B about this system.
For sure. David, I will say I did leave your channel in the pin chat of the stream. So for those who are tuning in and want to check out David's channel, please go subscribe to it. He does content similar to mine, and he likes to dive in a little bit deeper to the dynamics than I do. So David, shout out to that for you.
Are we going to eat at Cane's? Hold on, Pat. Yeah. Okay. So all right.
We're good, guys.
But in the meantime, though,
see you, Pat. I'm gonna head off. All right.
All right, that's fine, David. Have a nice night.
All right. See you, everybody. Thank you. Thanks for letting me join. And we got to watch this. We really do.
All right. Thank you, David. All right.
Thank you, David.
Yeah. All right, Tristan, before you go, we are 13 subscribers away from 10,000. Let's try and get there tonight. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. It helps us get more people engaged with weather. We are so close to 10,000 subs tonight. Let's see if we can get there. I think we can. It would help us get more people engaged with weather. But Tristan, you are now on the air, and now you can go ahead.
Interestingly enough, David said exactly what I was thinking. The fact that this was a monsoon, this is a convergence zone, we don't know where the low pressure is going to form. He also does mention that interesting 10 to 15 knots of shear development. I'm going to question that just a little bit, because we have seen small amounts of shear ruin a system because of dry air. So I did have to look at the water vapor on the mid-level, sure that there's no dry air. There is a little bit. There is a little bit in the Central Caribbean, but if this system can mature in time, it may not do anything, especially if the fight gets that little bit of shear.
Yeah.
But David basically said everything. This has a high ceiling, but we just don't know its fate because we don't know what the low pressure vortex is.
Yeah, and Daniel was alluding to that earlier when he was talking about it, just kind of, one frame it's here, one frame it's here, one frame it's there. Kind of just Daniel was kind of hitting that on the head as well. So,
And here's the thing that no one is questioning right now, which I am questioning a little bit only because I have seen this. What if it's not the monsoon that develops, but the tropical wave combines with the monsoon, like what the gyres do when they interact with tropical wave? Would it just make one big system? That's also what you got to ask yourself. Because if the monsoon is a development time, you got the tropical wave off to the east, really getting it going, moving west. So that might combine and make the vortex even tighter.
yeah.
But then there will only be one system out of two. But here's the thing, and I need to say this because I've been getting so many people on Twitter that have been saying this Atlantic hurricane season is not doing anything.
We've been talking about it all night.
And I'm going to tell you why. The ACE average for this day in August is still above average. The timing of all the named systems and all the hurricane potential has actually been average to above average. All the hurricane and Beryl being a Cat 5 have been much earlier than ever. The first named storm was only 1 day earlier than the absolute average. The normal average for the first named storm in old records, I think they did trim that back a tiny bit, the activity, was June 20th.
Yep.
And on June 19th. So this, in terms of the timing and the ACE, we are technically a little bit above average, considering the time because we're about to enter September. If these systems do fail, then we're going to start getting below average. But my point is that, and it has not been a quiet false hurricane. Yeah. All it took was Beryl and Debbie to show us that quiet to end up destructive. And both of them produced tornadoes. Beryl did some of the most record tornadoes in July into the derecho. Debbie did an EF3 tornado in North Carolina. This season has not been quiet.
It absolutely hasn't.
And remember, one of the best ACE seasons had only 20 named storms. So we could have that same thing. And 2019 did the same thing. You know what we got? Dorian, Humberto, the ice storm that flooded Houston, Lorenzo.
Yep.
So my point is this. I don't care how quiet the Atlantic is. That can change in such a flash. And this is where you have to really think. If the Atlantic is quiet, you're technically in more danger. Yeah. You know why? Because that water has not been touched.
I was talking about this in 2023 with the Caribbean.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So 2021, remember how it was slow, and then suddenly we had the gyre and Ida, and then it suddenly exploded when people were complaining about it being too quiet.
Yep.
Amilda, thank you, by the way, David.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that it doesn't matter how many named systems we have. 2004 only had 15 to 16. Florida got absolutely wrecked, and Ivan did the most tornadoes.
Yep.
So it didn't matter.
Yeah. This is the fiery Tristan we all love to have back.
And 1992, and by the way, this is what's interesting about the Atlantic. The 1992 season and this season is kind of being affected by a volcanic eruption a few years prior. Tonga was a VEI 6. What I'm saying is that could change the climate. My point being is that even in 1992, Pinatubo was cool in the world, and everyone thought the Atlantic was going to be quiet. Oh, you know what Miami got? A Cat 5 hurricane.
Andrew.
That's my point. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, the point is that it takes one system to make it an active season. One big hurricane.
It takes one hurricane to change lives forever.
Yep. This is why we love Tristan on the stream tonight. Anyway,
south of Miami, technically, I know. I did Miami as a broad area.
We know. Anyway, we are 2 subscribers away. 2 from 10,000. This is unbelievable. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so we can get there. It would be much appreciated if we could do that right now. So be sure to hit the subscribe button. We are 1 away. I got to stream this.
Here's my biggest question.
I got it. What?
I'm looking at your channel right now.
10,000.
YouTube is already saying you're at
10,000.
Let's go.
Unbelievable.
Whoa.
10,000.
man earned the 10,000
Yeah,
subscribers.
10,001.
10,000.
I was trying to get that screenshot, but we're at 10,004, 10,005. Unbelievable tonight.
It always goes up faster.
Wow. Thank you so much tonight. I really appreciate it. We're at 10,008. Let's keep going.
I want to ask this question to the viewers, and I'm curious on your thoughts. We're not going to judge you. I want to ask you a whole question. And what do you think a active hurricane season actually is? Is it hurricanes, majors, the named storms, or a cumulative cyclone energy? You know what? I want to poll up. I want to see what.
I can create one real quickly.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Is there a way I can create a poll on this, or? Oh, start
Yeah,
a
there
poll.
is.
All right.
Mhm.
All right? What do you want me to ask?
So, what makes a Atlantic hurricane season hyperactive? Name storms, hurricanes, majors, or ACE.
What are the options? Name storms.
I could DM you them.
Name storms.
Name storms, hurricanes, majors, or ACE.
Majors or ACE.
Yes.
All right, I'm setting it up right now. All right.
You know what? I want to see the votes in the.
All right, go ahead and vote in that. Go ahead and vote right now. We're gonna have that up for the rest of the stream. So.
And then we're gonna answer. We're gonna answer the question at the end.
Yep. We'll
see what the votes are.
For sure. But yeah, unbelievable night on the Pat's Path Predictor channel. We're covering this area of interest. 10,000 subscribers tonight. Thank you so much. I am going to. Yeah, there is going to be I am going to make a video about this tomorrow because it's such an unbelievable milestone. But anyway, that's kind of besides the point. But holy hell. This is that one curse word I'm going to use, but you guys are so fucking awesome for doing that.
I'm going to say this right now. You know what scares me about this season?
Yeah.
I wonder what the Central American gyre is going to do now that La Nina is really taking over and those waters have not been touched. Yep. If we get one lucky low pressure, it's over. Their season ain't going to be inactive anymore. Whoa. Because you know how many systems of tropical waves have done monster hurricanes just because the gyre is able to interfere?
Yeah.
2020, the reason why a lot of 2020's chaos happened was the gyre. Delta, Zeta, Gamma. The gyre can do a lot.
Oh, it definitely can.
Hate to interrupt, but our little system is blowing up in convection right now.
Yeah, it is.
Ooh,
it really is. Wait, it has been on all cylinders, but it's been very pronounced recently.
Yes, and this is where. But then here's the thing: it could do multiple areas of vortex. Now, this is the question: could it turn into two systems if they're able to get far away from each other and not share each other? That's a possibility too. We could certainly have three systems.
That's a lower possibility.
It's a lower, but it's possible.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's definitely a possibility.
1995 is the perfect example.
Yeah, here's what I will say. That convection firing up just to the west of it, I think that's going to merge. Based on the trajectory and the fact that we're seeing all this blow up and getting close to this area right here.
Oh, yes, the mentioned Texas. I was going to say something like that. I don't want people to let their guard down in Texas just in case that low pressure develops. Allison, Amilda, and all those other ones that flooded Houston were not on the models at all. They were not at all. And if that low pressure continues to stay there, and it's actually being able to become a tropical storm, and by the steering current, it doesn't look like it's going too fast. I am not going to hype this up. I am not that person. But the 96, so the 96 and the 72-hour does show a 1002 low pressure. A 24-hour does have a brief low pressure. It dies. Another low pressure. The question is, does that end up developing into a system? That's also the question. For the people and I don't want this to happen. You know why? That's right next to Houston. They have problems. They don't need another flooding.
Yes, they do. No, they don't.
And especially after I don't know. After power crews had quote pew pews pointed at them after the last hurricane, I don't want anything else. Those power crews, I remember that.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm getting tired.
Yeah, we're gonna probably end the stream pretty soon.
I call them pew pews because I don't know if I'm allowed to say the word on stream.
What's up?
Guns, rifles, Glocks. I don't know.
Anyway, before we even experiment with that, I want to go ahead and ask everybody tonight, now that we have been kind of going through all of this, all of the just, okay. Hold on. David actually just sent me a DM. I'm taking a look at the GFS very quickly. He just sent me something. I just want to take a look at it. He's telling me that the GFS wants to wait until this gets into the Western Caribbean to develop.
So basically interacting with the gyre.
Potentially.
That's scary.
No.
You know who else did that? Ida.
Michael arguably did as well.
Shush.
Wilma did it. We're not saying that that's going to happen because here's the thing about the gyre that people keep forgetting. The gyre is not one low pressure. It's mesoscale low pressures fighting for dominance within the convection.
For sure.
So it may be a messy system like Philip of 2017. It might be a decent system like Gamma, or it might be a strong system. The gyre, it all depends on which low pressure is dominant and what location and condition.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, that's something.
Sorry, guys, I was a little like in a daydream.
Don't worry about it. Don't
State,
worry about it. It's
okay. What are you guys talking about?
We're talking about the GFS and it developing over the Western Atlantic.
We were talking about people don't freak out about the gyre yet. The gyre has so many variables.
Yeah, for sure.
Also.
But
all I heard in my little trance is Wilma.
Okay. Yeah, but it is getting a little late, and I want everyone's final thoughts here before we leave. I'll start with Yoshi since he's been here the longest and he hasn't said very much in a while.
I don't have a lot of stuff I already said.
All right.
I haven't already said.
All right. Okay. Tristan.
Just watch it. Don't play the fool. Don't be the cat.
Yep.
Let me rephrase that. Don't be the mouse that ignores the cat and then suddenly gets grabbed by the cat. Don't do that. Pay attention. What are aware.
Yeah.
This is not Tom and Jerry.
Yep.
This is real life.
For sure. And speaking of stuff, Tristan, we actually have a tie in the poll that we put out. Name storms and Ace are tied.
The answer is Ace.
Yeah, it's generally
cumulative cyclone energy because there's a reason why named storms are not on there. You know why? Because 2020 had 30.
Yeah,
but yet the Ace was barely hyperactive.
Yeah.
19. What was that year? It was 19 something, which had 258 Ace and only had 20 named storms. 2005 was the tie.
Yeah.
But that was only because a lot of the hurricanes that developed were really explosive real quick.
What's up?
I was just going to ask Tristan, what's the average Ace for this time of year compared to what we have currently?
We can look at that.
Yeah, we can look at that we can look at that.
So the observed Ace right now is 55.1. We're supposed to be at 55.1 around September 7th to 8th. So yeah, well, like I said, if these two systems don't develop in time, we're actually going to be average.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm not going to say average because if these two systems form, become huge Ace makers, that illusion's going to be kicked out the window.
Yeah, for sure.
Be average for one day.
Yep.
Yep. Oh, by the way, we were above average in Ace almost the whole year. Barrel and Ernesto combined mostly gave us Ace was basically super above average for half of the hurricane.
I mean, Barrel was barreling for the Caribbean, so
Yes, it
Oh
was.
God.
I
Oh
had to do the
no.
joke.
Yeah, hey, I'm the one that started it, so you can blame me.
I believe this hurricane season will be. It will kind of be like 2020 values, where it's kind of on the edge of hyperactivity, but not because of the amount of storms, but because of how much. Yeah. But
So
that
your
depends.
thoughts are quality over quantity.
Yes,
All right.
that's this season most likely, unless the subtropics suddenly do a November December bowl.
Yeah. All right. Daniel, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, well, first, looking no Mike. Second,
Minecraft Villager.
Okay. I remember when you did this last time. Thankfully, I'm not in a hotel room in Nebraska, so yeah.
I
All right.
remember people were asking on the gaming stream, what's in Nebraska? You know, I had to type tornadoes that can destroy your house, and everyone agreed. So that was funny.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
Anyway,
that's such a great still plays thing.
Anyway, Daniel, go ahead. I'll show this just for the funnies.
Yeah, look into the heavens.
This is the face of a man that just hit 10,000 subscribers.
why do you look like a Minecraft villager looking up in the air? I'm sorry, dude. I played so much Minecraft. Oh God.
Yeah. Regardless, though, yeah. Go ahead and continue, Daniel.
I don't know if I can. But what I will say is based off the just overall everything that's currently happening in the tropics, this is shaping out to be potentially a very dangerous set of storms if they fall directly behind each other. First, you have this main one that's going to go somewhere through the Caribbean and somewhere in the Gulf or on the edge of the Gulf into the Atlantic.
Yep.
And then the second one falling behind that might do fling out to sea or go for the Caribbean again, which is, again, piping hot. So it can, as long as these storms keep moving, sustain those storms all the way through.
We will find out next time on the Atlantic is on crack.
We definitely will. And I loved when we did that with
right into the crack.
Yes. Yep. All right. Do you have anything else, Daniel, or no?
All I will say is that with all of that I just said in mind, please be safe out there. Keep an eye on all National Hurricane Center forecasts upcoming. Obviously, we're here to give you information, but we're not true certified professionals. Of course, take...
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, take
well, we won't put your life in danger for no reason. We're not mean, but we're not professional. Make sure to not just the National Hurricane Center. Make sure to also look at the Storm Prediction Center, the Weather Prediction Center when the storm makes landfall, tornado risk, flooding risk, all of that with the multiple forecasts.
Definitely. All right.
Who's just spamming by?
Okay. I'm just looking. Okay, in the meantime, though, I'm going to go ahead and say my final thoughts on this very quickly. I know we had a little fun towards the end. Hey, I just hit 10,000 subscribers. It's a pretty good occasion for that. But anyway, the big point I want to say with this is something that is it's something you need to watch. It's something that has been very concerning to me watching this. It's something that I look at, and yes, there is a little bit of dry air around a little bit around it, but the conditions ahead of it are going to be really good for several days. We're not going to see, this is just one window where it's going to happen or not. This has a lot of time to organize. And considering that this is heading for the Caribbean Sea scares the absolute shit out of me. Yes, that's another curse word. YouTube's going to demonetize me. I'm sorry,
Cool.
but you get the
You know what's
point.
scarier than that?
Yeah.
You know what's scarier than that? The time of year that it's going into the Caribbean.
Yep.
This is peak moment. This is the Atlantic punching.
Yeah.
This is basically if you're in WWE and they're about to uppercut you.
Yeah.
That's yup. You can't defend. Yep.
Yeah.
That's the Atlantic's power this time.
Yeah, for sure.
Are we saying there's going to be another destructive hurricane? No, we're not.
No,
we're
of
just
course.
saying be ready for one.
No, of course not.
Listen, you know what else is gonna scare the crap out of me, Pat? Is the picture I just said it. No way.
You please. Of course you did. Of course you did. All right. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and say this right now. First of all, you need to watch this very closely. It's an evolving situation that with convection firing on all cylinders, and we'll keep you updated. I won't be streaming tomorrow because I'm going to a baseball game, but
Nice.
I'm going to celebrate my 10,000 subscribers now, so hey. Yeah, I'm going to do that, but I will be streaming on Saturday, and I will be streaming on Sunday, and I will be streaming throughout the week whenever it's warranted. But the one thing I do want to tell you guys this is be prepared for any scenario. Prepare for the worst and pray for the best. That's the best advice I can give you tonight. And one last thing I want to say is thank you for 10,000 subscribers. It means a lot to me. I'm very humbled about it. I really appreciate all the love and support you've given to me over the course of especially the last 3 months. And I hope to keep going, and I hope to eventually get up there and maybe get maybe double or even triple that subscriber count by the end of the year. I think we can do that. I just want to say thank you very much for that. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and close the stream right here. Daniel and Tristan are going to have a little bit of fun after the stream, so
Actually, I'm going real quick. I do. Go ahead, Mia, real quick. You just.
Okay, hi. I'm sorry. I know the
Hey,
stream is
Mia.
about to end. If you hear thunder in the background, ignore it. Virginia's just having.
Yeah, just ignore it.
Anyways, hi.
Having a fun time.
My final thoughts, because I came in here late. Anyways, yes, be prepared. Keep watching it. Stay updated.
Yep.
Whatever. Also, a little history real quick. Is it Hurricane Katrina's anniversary coming
It
up?
is.
Or did it already pass?
It
is.
already passed. Actually, it would be the anniversary of its. It would be the last final
19th.
outbreak of its tornado outbreak. Actually,
Because I was
right
just
now.
in here and I was like, did I miss it? And I was like, let me just hop on there and say something about it.
Yeah,
But I forgot. My bad.
you're good. Don't worry.
It's okay.
But yes,
Yeah,
everyone
so,
stay
speaking
safe
of that-
and
Yeah.
keep watching.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, speaking of the Katrina anniversary, I saw the only reason I remembered about it is that I saw a picture of the eye wall. And it was saying that the anniversary was coming up.
Today is also the anniversary of Ida. That
Yep.
Right.
the gyre.
Yeah.
Tropics.
I will say this. Ida is actually the hurricane that encouraged me to start Pat's Path Predictor. The channel turns 3 years old on Saturday.
You know what my most interesting tropical system is?
What is it?
Y'all might judge me for it. I don't care. It's a tie between Florence and Isaias. Isaias because I stayed up tracking it all night. Florence because I remember that day. It was the same day my grandma had a medical emergency before she passed in September.
Oh.
Actually, Florence's anniversary coming up soon too, as we turn to September. But yes, Florence and Isaias. I don't know what it is, but those are the most.
For me,
interesting
Isaias was the definition of what a trough can supercell fund.
This year, Debbie took it so far because of how many tornadoes came over my county.
Maryland's
And I
actually
didn't
above
realize.
average. Maryland's above average because of Debbie and
Yep.
a marginal risk tornado outbreak.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
Ethan's talked to me a little bit about that, Ethan WX. he's talked to me a little bit about that as well. So yeah, Mia, is there anything else you'd like to say before we end the stream? Because I know this is the classic Midwestern goodbye, where we stream for another 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Tristan. Anyways, but yeah, everybody, pay attention and watch that. Also, I don't know if there's any severe weather. I know this is tropical, but
no, most of the severe weather decided.
Most of it decided to say bye.
Yes.
But
okay,
anyway,
GFS is currently showing our tropical storm hitting the Yucatan.
Okay.
Okay, GFS.
The global effing system.
All right, I'm done.
It's almost 1 a.m. and I have to go to school tomorrow.
All right, we're gonna end it. We're gonna end it.
Go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for 10,000 subscribers. It means a lot. Also, it's unbelievable that it happened on the anniversary of Katrina and Ida's landfall, the anniversary of the hurricane that encouraged me to do Pat's Path Predictor. The channel turns 3 years old on August 31st, which is on Saturday. And I've gotten a lot of messages as well asking how Ethan's doing. He's doing fine. He's doing a lot better. I've been talking to him about it. We're doing good. I just wanted to say that very quickly. So yeah, that's it for tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. It helps us out, helps us get more people engaged with weather. If you want to come hang out with us at Storms United, be sure to join the Discord server. Link to that is in the description down below. Also, yep.
I'm sorry. Today's International Beach Day, the day after the anniversary of Katrina. You know what? I'm not going to question that.
Okay. All right.
That sounds like the Safety Harbor thing.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
All right. Yeah. But anyway, also one more thing. Daniel, shout out to you for being an official sponsor of the Pat's Path Predictor channel on Patreon. If you'd like to join the ranks, being a friend of Pat or his official sponsor, be sure to join the Patreon. It's the first link in the description down below. You don't have to if you don't want to, but it's always much appreciated. And with that being said, have a wonderful evening. Thank you for 10,000 subscribers, and stay safe.